Hello, and thank you for checking out the Body Fuel Blueprint. In this video, I'm going to be going over the PDF because I know that a lot of times we just want to listen to somebody tell us what to do or watch a video rather than comb through a PDF. So this supplementary video is going to do exactly that. And in this session, I'm going to talk about how you can fuel for energy, balance your digestion, crush your cravings, and ultimately build the muscle of your dreams. So I hear this all the time. I'm doing all the right things, but I'm not seeing results. And I see you guys, I hear you guys. I'm often talking to you guys one-on-one and really trying to help you out here. And that is ultimately what helped me build this guide here, is I wanted to help unlock those quote unquote secrets that are keeping you stuck and how you can ultimately move forward. So you're probably hitting the gym consistently. You're probably watching what you eat, or at least you're aware that you need to focus on nutrition somehow, whether that is through cutting back on calories or incorporating healthier foods into your diet, whatever methodology you're currently using. And maybe you're even trying to skip a few of your favorite foods because you think that that's ultimately what's going to speed things up for you. But instead of actually feeling leaner, stronger, or more energized, you're feeling frustrated. So you're dealing with energy crashes either halfway through the day, or you're just not even getting consistent high energy throughout your day, which often leaves you reaching for caffeine, sugar, or maybe just a nap to get through it all. You're probably feeling stuck in your workouts, like you're showing up and putting in the effort, but you're just not seeing the progress that you expect to see, and you have no idea how to break through that plateau. If you're constantly reaching for sugar and you're always also reaching for snacks that you find really hard to avoid, even if you know that it's not going to help you achieve your goals and you know that's what's keeping you stuck. And then no matter what you eat, your body just feels off. You feel puffy, you feel bloated and inflamed, or maybe you just can't even tell if it's fat or if it's bloat or just something else. But what you do know for a fact is that right now you are not feeling your best and something's got to change. So if this sounds familiar to you, then you've probably also gone the route of like Googling solutions, trying a few fixes here and there, especially things that you hear on Instagram. And maybe you have even jumped onto another diet. But if nothing is seeming to stick and you're still feeling stuck and confused, I want to help you. So in this guide, like I said, we are going to learn how to fuel for energy and body recomposition without slashing your calories. Learn how to train smarter, not necessarily harder, so that way you can actually build muscle and see progress, and then beat the bloat and improve your digestion so that way you do in fact feel lighter and more comfortable every single day. No extremes. No bullshit, just simple science-backed strategies that actually work. Starting it off with nutrition. So you know that this is important. You know that this is something you need to focus on. But the thing is that what everybody is telling us to do is diet. Diet in some capacity. But instead, I really encourage you to focus on building balanced meals. If you truly want to unlock the key to stable energy, fewer cravings, and muscle growth, then this is exactly what you need to be focusing on. Within each meal, aim for a protein, a carbohydrate, a vegetable where possible, and fat. So ideally, at least a protein, carb, and fat, right? We're covering the main macronutrients that your body needs. A lot of times we fixate on cutting carbohydrates primarily, or maybe even cutting fats, but these foods are still very important. If you are exercising a good deal, especially if you are resistance training, then your body needs energy, and your energy primarily comes from carbs and fats. A lot of times we are already focusing on protein because we know we need protein. Protein is constantly harped on all the time, but then we're missing other key areas that can give us energy, that can give us fuel for our workouts, and that can make our diet, let's call it for lack of a better term, that can make our diet more tolerable. Because if you're constantly focusing on cutting foods out, point blank, you're going to be miserable. So instead, focus on incorporating a little bit everything into your meals. And this is a basic structure that you can use when building your meals. I have lists of food here within each category that you can use, but understand that you are not restricted to only what's within these lists. Consider what other foods are out there that you can incorporate and how they might contribute to your total macronutrient content. It's just, this is the most simplified list that I could put into a PDF form for you. Let's also talk a little bit more about incorporating fiber. This is another key piece, especially from a gut health perspective, a balancing blood sugar perspective, and also just keeping you full and satisfied throughout the day perspective that we need to touch upon, okay? Fiber is found in quite a few different foods. You can find them in your vegetables, which is why I typically recommend my clients aim for about 3 to 4 fist-sized servings of vegetables per day. Think like leafy greens, bell peppers, zucchini, you name it. Basically, go to the produce section of your grocery store and start picking stuff out from there that you are willing to eat. Then also incorporating fruits, anywhere from about 1.5 to 2 cups per day. Again, I'm not here to limit you. I'm just here to give you a general idea. So consider incorporating things like berries, apples, citrus fruits, whatnot. But you can also find fiber in fiber-rich carbohydrates. So remember, carbs are good. We like carbs here. I want you to eat carbs. Do not be afraid of them. And in fact, if you can, try to reach for more of those fiber-rich sources on a regular basis. This can include foods like beans, lentils, whole grains, starchy vegetables. And then also finally, nuts and seeds. I always like to treat fats like they are the accessory to your meal. They're a way to spice things up. They're a way to add texture, and nuts and seeds do exactly that. So consider how you can incorporate those to give your meals a little bit more of a punch of fiber as well. Now, I'm going to be really, really blunt when I say this, but your snacks suck. Okay. When we typically think of snacks, we usually reach for something that's really, really easy. Maybe we grab a protein shake. Maybe we grab a single pack of nuts. Maybe we grab a pack of chips, right? But more often than not, our snacks are not actually doing what they need to do for our bodies and for our nutrition and for our muscles. So instead, I'm going to encourage you to think of snacks differently. Your snack needs to meet 3 goals. It needs to give you an energy boost. It needs to keep your blood sugar stable, and it needs to fill in any nutrient gaps throughout the day. So instead of thinking of a snack like some sort of like quickie thing that you can grab from a packaged source, I want you to think of it like a mini meal, okay? This is not to say that you cannot use some processed foods to build your snacks. By all means, your snacks should be easy to put together. They do not have to be overcomplicated, and you definitely don't have to cook another meal. But consider how you can incorporate a protein, a carbohydrate, and a fat. And if you can get some fiber in there, bonus, okay? Some balanced snack ideas that I incorporated here include Greek yogurt with fruit and nuts. So we've got protein from the Greek yogurt, carbohydrates from the fruits, and also from the nuts, we've got healthy fats. And between the fruits and nuts, we're incorporating some fiber as well. Half a turkey, cheese, and lettuce wrap. I said half because, again, it's a snack. It's kind of like a mini meal. And you could even incorporate something like a whole wheat wrap in this case to get a boost of fiber there. Then you've got tuna fish mixed with avocado and whole grain crackers. This is kind of like a healthy take on a tuna salad where you're incorporating avocado instead, which gives it this nice creamy goodness, but also, again, super good boost of fiber and healthy fats. Whole grain crackers, we're getting fiber as well. And yes, it's a processed food source, but it's super, super easy and often very tasty. And then a really solid protein source. So considering rethinking how you guys are incorporating snacks. And I am also going to change how you think about building your meals across the day. So I encourage my clients to eat every 3 to 4 hours for steady energy. Forget the intermittent fasting stuff. Forget the eat fewer meals in a day to cut back on calories. Most of you guys are just not even there yet. Like, these are high level strategies that can be used in certain cases. But quite honestly, what I see more often is that we need steady energy sources and we need to stabilize our blood sugar. And the best way to do this is to eat in consistent intervals. If we wait longer than that 4 hours, like 5, 6 hours, then what tends to happen is we tend to experience a blood sugar drop. So maybe you feel a little bit shaky, hungry, hangry even. And again, like, we're also feeling extra hunger. And whenever we go into our next meal, we have a tendency to eat too quickly and then overeat because we have not stabilized our hunger. So if we really want to master portion control, it's better if we go into our meals without feeling crazy hungry and anticipating hunger a little bit better, especially as we get to know our hunger and fullness cues better. So timing truly does matter. Here's an example of what a balanced schedule might look like. You might have breakfast around 8 a.m. Then about 4 hours later, you're going to have lunch at around 12 p.m. And then about 3 hours later, we're going to have a small snack, again, like a mini meal. And then about another 4 hours later, we're going to have dinner at around 7 p.m. Again, you're not locked into the schedule. This is just a way for me to illustrate to you what this schedule might look like. And then you can build your own based on what your schedule looks like. This works because it prevents energy crashes as well as late day binges. It helps keep your blood sugar stable for steady energy and fewer cravings. And it also supports your muscle building and recovery. How does it support that last piece? One is if you are consistently eating protein throughout your day, you're going to have a higher likelihood of actually consuming the amount of protein that you need for your goals. Two, if you are also consistently eating carbohydrates and fats throughout the day and getting in adequate energy sources, then you're also going to have enough energy to build muscle. And you're also going to be able to recover, because whenever we recover, we're basically replenishing what our body needs and has used within our exercise. Now, a big question that I always get is, what should I eat before my workout? This is going to always vary person to person. Some of you guys might prefer to actually train fasted, and that's fine. But if you need something in your stomach before you exercise, I recommend finding something that is easy to digest and also gives you a little bit of protein and some carbohydrates as well. Fats are not necessarily a bad thing to have before workouts, but they can be a little bit harder to digest. So they might not be ideal to consume. Meanwhile, carbohydrates provide very quick sources of energy, and protein is going to support your muscles. So this is a really good time where a processed food product actually works really well, because those foods are typically very quick to digest and won't provide a ton of GI distress going into your workout. I'm not talking about a bag of Doritos here, but I am talking about something like a protein shake with a side of banana, or maybe even a protein bar, something super quick and easy to grab. Let's talk about training a little bit more and how you can actually achieve your goals of building muscle through your training. I'm going to tell a quick anecdotal story here. I used to teach spin classes. And at the same time, I was also teaching CrossFit classes, and I regularly weightlifted. But I had one woman who came up to me in my spin class, and she said to me, "I want to have arms like you." Unfortunately, newsflash for her, she wasn't going to build the arms of her dreams in a spin studio. She was going to build them in the gym. And I told her exactly that. When it comes to building muscle, when it comes to building tone, we need to resistance train. Now, there's various kinds of resistance training. We can use our body weight. We can use things like bands and whatnot. But I find one of the most effective ways to do it is through using weights. Again, we can use a variety of modalities, but whenever we're using weights to resistance train, it's a lot easier to navigate in terms of progression. You can actually push yourself in a lot of cases, because in some cases with body weight and with limited resistance, we're not always going to be able to continually overload our muscle and challenge it in new ways. But with weights, we can pretty much always do that. As a group fitness coach, something that I see that is holding people back in the gym is they're not lifting heavy enough. Sometimes that comes from fear. Sometimes that just comes from a lack of just not knowing how heavy you truly can lift. And sometimes it just comes from we just don't know how to push ourselves. So a good rule of thumb is basically, if you are not struggling on the last 2 to 3 reps of your set, then you might want to push a little bit heavier. I'm also going to recommend using progressive overload. So what this means is that we are not doing random workouts every single week. There should be intention behind our workouts if we truly want to build muscle. The reason why is because you're going to be better at building muscle and building strength if you are actually following a progression week over week, repeating similar or the same exercises. So that way you know what you did last week and how you can push yourself in the following week. This is, again, going to be the most effective way for you to strength train. Typically, I do these repeatable exercises anywhere around a 4 to 6 week cycle, and then you just rotate them out and do something different the next time. But if you are constantly doing random workouts, it's really hard to judge how hard you can push yourself and how heavy you can go when it's a movement that you change every single week. I think it's also important to note that it is not just about the calorie burn. I hear a lot of people coming to me and saying, well, what about cardio? How much cardio should I be doing to lean out? And what they are looking at is more of that weight loss factor. Like, how do I lose the most weight? How do I make the scale move the most? But when it comes to building the muscle of your dreams, it's not just about what's on the scale. It's about building composition. And we don't want to just fixate on the maximum calorie burn. Quite frankly, in a lot of cases, my strength training workouts, as effective as they are, I probably am not burning that many calories. And that doesn't matter because they're extremely effective in building muscle. And that is ultimately what matters, at least to me. I'm not going to say that you shouldn't do cardio. Cardio is important. It's important for our heart health, okay? But I am going to say you don't need to kill yourself doing a ton of cardio on top of your weight training sessions. And in fact, I don't really recommend it because your body is not going to recover adequately enough. Instead, where most of us can find a lot of value is getting in more steps in the day. So aiming for about 7K steps, getting in more walks, which can be a form of steady state cardio. And by all means, if you want to increase your steps through things like bike riding or running, then do it, but don't overdo it. I find walking to be like one of my favorite forms of cardio, mainly because I can get my heart rate up depending on how fast I walk, but I can also allow my body to recover by slowing things down and still getting in steps. Don't overthink it. Don't overdo it. And I should really highlight here that we want to prioritize recovery. I fell into the trap for a very long time that I needed to train more. I needed to train harder. I needed to train every single day for multiple hours a day just to see the results that I wanted. But in fact, I felt healthier, I felt better, and I built better, stronger muscle when I worked out less. Yes, crazy, I know. What we need to understand is that muscle does not necessarily build while you are exercising. It is building while you are resting. Because what is really happening is that exercise is placing stress on your muscles, and it's when we recover that our muscles rebuild in preparation to take that stress on again. You can effectively build muscle training about 3 to 5 times per week with the right training program. So don't be afraid to take active recovery days. Spend time stretching. I talk about this all the time with people in my classes. We need to stretch more. It is going to help with muscle recovery, and it's going to help prevent injuries as well. And then also rest between your sets. Like, don't go doing cardio between your sets. Don't rush through them because you feel like, again, you have to get that maximum calorie burn. If you are truly lifting heavy enough and challenging your muscles enough, you will actually need that rest. And when you rest, your next set, you're going to be able to push yourself harder and it's going to be more effective. A common question that I also get in the journey of building muscle is, well, what if I don't want to get bulky? And all I have to say that is, I wish it were that easy. Now, bulk or creating bulk really comes from being intentional about your weight training, the style of training that you're doing, how hard you're pushing yourself in the gym, and also eating in a surplus. That is how individuals are getting quote unquote bulky. If you simply eat balanced meals, resistance train on a regular basis, and prioritize recovery, I promise you, you're not going to bulk up. What we have to understand is that being toned is simply having muscle and then low enough body fat to reveal it. No one these days is waking up and just looking like a bodybuilder. So get this thought out of your head. You are not going to accidentally bulk. Something a lot of us are overlooking is that we need good digestion in order for us to adequately build muscle, because how our body processes our food and the nutrients that it absorbs is going to impact our results. Something else I should point out is that sometimes it's not all about just needing to lose fat. Sometimes what you're actually dealing with is bloat and inflammation, and it's making you feel puffy. So you think you have to lose fat, but really, you just have to be less inflamed. So we're going to make sure that we set our digestion up for success here. Step 1, and this is what I teach all of my clients, day 1 of my coaching program, and that is eat slowly and mindfully. Most of us are eating while scrolling on our phones or working or watching TV. If you do not relate to that, you're an anomaly, okay? Majority of us are going to raise our hands and go, yeah, that's me. And this makes it awfully hard for us to recognize fullness, to find full satisfaction in our meals, and to really connect with what we're eating. Okay. So I'm going to challenge you here. Try sitting down, not being on the go, not standing up, but sitting down at a table, eating without distractions, and chew your food thoroughly. Relaxing while you eat puts your body into a rest and digest state, which is ultimately going to support better digestion, which helps reduce bloat post-meal and indigestion as well. Additionally, we want to learn how to stop at 80% full. A lot of us have been taught that we have to finish our plates, and we got to get that out of our head. But instead, we want to connect with our bodies and understand what fullness actually feels like. Fullness does not feel like 100%. It doesn't feel like we're stuffed, busting out of our pants, feeling a little bit uncomfortable. In fact, fullness is what I describe as being 80%, or you could eat more food, but you don't need to. Get comfortable with understanding what 80% fullness feels like for you, and stop eating even if you have food left on your plate. It can even be helpful to portion smaller portions on your plate initially. Check in with yourself at the end of the first plate, and then go back for more food if you truly find that you are hungry. Finally, you can also go for 5 to 15-minute walks after your meals. This is an excellent tip for both aiding digestion as well as balancing your blood sugar. So get up, move a little bit. It does not have to be a power walk. I have a lot of clients who mistakenly think that they need to really move their bodies, but instead it should be a casual, leisurely walk. It's a really great way to get your steps in, so get closer to that 7K step goal, but also to aid that digestion, reduce your bloat, reduce indigestion, and also, again, balance your blood sugar, meaning that we're not going to have those energy dips later in the day from our meal. Now, a little bonus tip here, but a lot of the things that I talked about earlier in this guide are also going to set you up for better digestion. So if we start eating more balanced meals, start incorporating fiber regularly into our meals, and eat fewer processed foods, chances are you're going to notice an improvement in your overall gut health, and you're likely going to see your gut health symptoms go down, and you're going to feel a hell of a lot better in your body. So where do we go from here? This is a lot of information to take in, and I understand that it can feel really overwhelming right from the get-go. I want you to focus on making changes to about 1 to 2 things in your day-to-day. Choose a few things that you can focus on right now and start to implement them. Create a habit out of them. Find confidence in executing them over and over again. And then once you're feeling confident there, start to add in something else. I can understand that now that you've downloaded the guide, you want to fix your shit and you're feeling very, very motivated to do it all. But sometimes that can cause a lot of overwhelm and set us up for failure down the line, rather than focusing on building consistent habits. Now, if you found this guide helpful and if you start implementing stuff and things are going really, really well, DM me on Instagram. I would love to hear about your wins and celebrate them with you. But also, if you have questions, if you have comments or concerns or anything that you want to share with me, my DMs are always open. But if you are ready for a personalized approach to help you boost your energy, banish your bloat for good, and build the muscle of your dreams, then definitely check out my one-on-one coaching program. I've linked my coaching application here right within the guide so that if you guys want to move forward on that, you can go ahead and apply today. Within my one-on-one coaching, I focus on creating a strategy that is specific to you, your needs, and your lifestyle to help you achieve your goals. And I guide you over the coming months on how to actually build habits and create change in your life that is going to actually help you achieve your goals and maintain them afterwards without being miserable and without tracking macros. I hope you enjoyed this guide as well as the presentation, and I hope to talk to you soon.